So 2 years ago, I chose to switch from Android to iPhone, and now he's going to do the same thing.
Well, I have been an Android user ever since I have used the smartphone, which was early on. I've never used the iPhone except when I developed apps, and then I have used them since like version 4, I believe. So I know about them, I have used them in that sense, and I've held off this whole time. So in this video I want to tell you why I'm finally switching, what is making me do it. And first I'll start with telling you why I haven't done it this whole time.
So if you want to hear my reasons for switching, I have my own video about it, but yeah, now we're going to get into his reasons. And some of those reasons might overlap, and some might be totally different reasons.
So like I said, I have been liking my Android all these years, and the reason I have not switched was, the very first reason was when iPhone first came out, you had to be bound by a contract. And when you think of what Apple does, you're always bound by something. And I never wanted to be bound and change from my T-Mobile membership that I do like a lot to back then AT&T. Later it was open, but by then I really liked my Android and I kept it. The other issue I had is that in Apple, you're always bound to the ecosystem. All the ports and everything was always proprietary. Now they've moved away from that as well. But I just didn't like that philosophy. It's like I now buy into the corporation and I am their minion, you know. I never liked that. Android started out as open source, and the philosophy has always been such there. Though now it is also beholden by big corporations like Google, Samsung, etc. I used many Android phones in the past. I used the Pixel, and then I switched to Samsung, and I really do like them. And the other big thing that I don't like yet, even still, about iPhones is the user experience. And I am a user experience developer. I did that for like 13 years, and I've used them side by side, my Android and my iPhone. And that entire time I would cringe and get frustrated whenever I have to do a simple task on an iPhone. While with Android, everything has been straightforward, simple, in a way utilitarian. You know, things are useful to their purpose. In the case of the iPhone, it just never made that much sense to me, and it just, everything was somewhere else, not where I would expect it, and it would annoy me. So I've never liked that either. The user experience, I still think it's bad. I still think Android is better, but keep in mind that I haven't truly given the iPhone a true immersion, where I only use that and I just forget about everything else. I've been told it takes a month or 2 or 3 or a year to get used to the new user experience. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'll make another video about how I'm adapting to the user experience maybe within a month. But yeah, those are my main reasons I didn't switch all this time. Oh, and another big reason is simply the price. Android has always given you just about the same hardware, maybe a little less high quality for like half price. So it doesn't really compel you all that much. But now, finally, I will do it right now.
So with all of that in mind, it really makes you wonder, why is he switching, right? Like, those are some compelling reasons to not switch.
So the number one reason is that now we make videos, we produce videos, we have a big business producing videos. And I have Android, and Susie now has iPhone. The market for iPhone is much larger, but also iPhone is a much better tool for video production itself. They're very viable tools for actually producing a whole video A to Z. And when she's taking videos on her iPhone, whether they're for this tech channel, for our travel channel, or for our family videos, she takes iPhone videos and I take Android videos. Now if we were to put them together, it doesn't look as good, they don't match. The angles are a little off, the colors are a little off, and so on. Then when I do compare them, I do prefer the way the iPhone looks quite a bit. So that's my main motivation, that our media is now compatible and that we can make a cohesive movie that looks the same. Furthermore, the cameras are simply better on my Android, even though I get the flagship and stuff like that. When I turn it around, the camera facing me, it's really limited on the Galaxy that I have, and I think I have the best, except I never get the large phones because I don't like that bulk in my pocket. But I turn it back, it's barely enough for me to take a selfie with my son. Like, it's like this, and there's this button, it's not even talking about the actual focal length or the width of my image, it says 1 or 2 people on the icon, and when I click 2 people, not much changes. So it's like a really limited back-facing camera. And then on the other hand, when I go to front-facing, I don't like the distortion on the wide angle on Androids. I don't like how it degrades when I zoom, stuff like that. What I see from iPhone footage does not have all these problems. And if all that even wasn't true, then I still wouldn't have the exact same image that Susie gets, so that we can make our movies together. So that's the number one reason. And then there's another reason which extremely irritates me about Android, and that is you can't get your images off it. Like, for how many years? It's been like a decade and a half. You cannot properly get media out of an Android phone. It just fails, and you have this garbage Android transfer. It fails like 3 out of 4 times, and you're like sitting there for hours cursing, trying to get your media. It's your own media, and you can't get it out properly.
So that was one of the reasons why I switched, like one of the main reasons. And I will say that AirDrop on Apple, because we both use Apple computers, is so much easier. But people do comment on my video saying that there is a way on Androids that is comparable to AirDrop to get your media off, but I mean, I don't know what that tool is. You don't know what that tool is.
I don't know. I'm so frustrated at this point.
Sucks.
I'm just going to abandon them.
Yeah.
And I think it's a complete failure and blunder and unacceptable that a company like Google and Samsung don't give you proper tools to get your media out. And the reason is they want you to go to their cloud. They want you to pay for cloud. They want you to go up there first, and then they own your media, which I don't like at all. But limiting you on the hardware transfer level and just failing it for over a decade is just unacceptable to me.
To be fair, Apple's also trying to get you on the cloud, the iCloud, so you're going to learn about that as well. But you know, there are ways to avoid using iCloud, but there are a lot of reasons to use iCloud. So Apple also has their cloud agenda that they're pushing.
Well, that brings me to my next point, that whether I like it or not, I am a customer of Apple now with my laptop. I don't want to ever go back to PC, for example. So I am already in their system. So it would be nicer if my devices work better together. Other things, people use iPhones more, simply. Like our nanny sends us a picture of her son through what is the messaging app there?
Messages, I think is that what it's
iChat or
called.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so to me it comes bloody gimpy, because again it goes to the Apple cloud, and on Android you get a super downgraded version. So then I can't even see my child's pictures properly.
That's one of Apple's ways of getting you to stay within the Apple system.
Right. Bottom line is my number one motivation is business and family videos, and we just are getting basically on the same device for that reason.
So we are here to pick up our iPhone 16 Pros. And the nice thing, I mean, we'll get into more details about this, but one reason why we're going with the Pro rather than the Pro Max is that the cameras are basically the same now. So we can get a rather smaller Pro phone without having to sacrifice image quality or lenses on the cameras.
I was gonna say that is actually a huge thing to me, because I've always looked at the iPhones and I'm like, well, if I do want this top camera everyone's talking about, I have to get like a massive phone like this that doesn't even fit in my pockets. And so what am I gonna carry a purse now to put my iPhone?
That's true
ridiculous.
with Androids too, though. Like, you think if you want like the top of the line Samsung, you got to get the Ultra, right, or the Note or whatever it was. So
this release in particular, the 16th, apparently gives me the full power in a normal phone size, and I've been waiting for that the entire time my smartphones have been on the market. So I'm happy about that.
So that's one good thing. And also with iPhone 15, that's when they finally abandoned the lightning cable.
Oh,
so
right.
now we finally have USB-C. So I would say with the 15 and beyond, it's a little bit more compelling for Android users to be switching over.
That's true. Well, it is now acceptable to me. And another thing, I don't know if Apple does this, but one thing that really made me annoyed about Samsung lately is that they removed the audio port and everything. So now I have to use dongles and all this stuff.
Yeah, they did that with iPhone too.
I can't charge my phone in the same time as I'm listening to something.
You can if you use like, was it the Qi, the magnet thing? So I know Android has one, but MagSafe, you're gonna like that for iPhone. I use the MagSafe charger for iPhone as well as the MagSafe accessories, and that has been life-changing. So
Yeah, so that goes another whole topic which I'll explore another time, but there simply is more for iPhone. More apps, more accessories, more everything, more cases, more whatever you want.
Yeah, true.
Even just the fashion extensions and everything else, the phones look better and etc. etc. It's just overall, to me, Div 1 at this point.
all right, we'll see how he feels after actually using the iPhone because he hasn't even gotten it yet.
That's true.
But yeah, let's go pick up our phones. Well, I got my new Desert Titanium iPhone 16 Pro, so pretty excited to check it out. Let's see what Martin has.
At first glance, it looks very nice. It's almost identical size to my Android Samsung, and that is a good thing. I've wanted to keep this size. So I'll give you a first impression video soon after I actually do something with this phone. Now I just wanted to tell you why I'm getting it. So we got the iPhones. I wanted to expand what the intent is here with buying it. You know, we obviously have these YouTube channels and we have a media operation. And I think the iPhone closest of all devices is to the point where it's kind of the one device to rule them all, where you can put it in your pocket and besides all the million things you can do, it can actually be a movie making, a movie production device, video production device. So the idea is that we already do this a lot, and Susie does it with her phone, but my footage, when we're out and about and we need to fill in some kind of B-roll shot, or we're doing things as we travel, doing our media production, you always have your phone in your pocket, you reach for it, and now you have wide angle, you have zoom, you have selfie mode, you have all these things in satisfactory enough quality where they can actually fit into a quite nicely made, produced media. And now with the two of us, we double that potential up. Instead of me going with my Android phone and ending up with a bunch of footage that is useless for any other purpose than me looking at it later on my Google Cloud or something like that. We simply don't add that footage to our movie productions normally. So next time we go to a place like Paris or wherever, it's two of us on the job basically that way with our pocket movie making machines. And that's really what I want out of this iPhone the most.
With that said, I will say that, you know, I was on Android for like 13 years. I had one iPhone previously, it was like the iPhone 3GS. So I was on Android for a long time, but we actually started this channel with a Samsung. It was an Android phone, and I remember taking it on our honeymoon to Italy, and I was testing it out, and I was so impressed with the camera quality, like the video, that it convinced me that I don't really need to use another camera. Like the phone is just fine. And that was back for the Samsung Galaxy S8, I believe. And at this point, phones have just gotten so much better in terms of their camera quality that at this point I can confidently say, like, we just did our trip to Paris and we had the GoPro, we're shooting on the GoPro right now, as our, you know, main vlog camera, and in between I filled in everything with the iPhone. It was the iPhone 15 Pro, and I was really, really happy with the, you know, the results of that footage. And I would say that, you know, now you can also shoot log footage. As of, I think, the iPhone 15, it's supporting log, and so it takes up the quality of your video footage even more if you're able to shoot log. And so that's just, you know, a few of the tools that are out to make the iPhone more of a viable filming product.
Exactly. So what has happened now for our travel kit is that the iPhone has supplanted the mirrorless camera, and it has the wide angle and it has the zoom, which was the big reason you use a mirrorless. And now I really want to produce an entire movie just with the iPhones, and I want to see the limit of how high we can go, what kind of high quality production we can make simply with these iPhone 16s right now. It will take us a bit to go on another trip where we do a lot of shooting again, because we just had a baby. But whenever we go somewhere cool, which will be soon-ish, we'll try to make a high quality media production with just iPhone and then release that on our travel channel.
iPhone and GoPro or action camera, because that is still our main vlogging tool, just because it is, you know, small, compact, much easier to do like these like talking to the camera videos. So we still do have a secondary camera that we're using, and this is not also to say that you don't need a mirrorless camera at all. Like if you need, you know, a super zoom like 400 millimeters or something, like you I still would not trust quality coming out of these phones, even if they did offer 400 millimeters, because it's just not possible in cameras like this. So there's still a reason to use mirrorless cameras, but just for us, like, even though we have them, we travel with them less and less, or we bring them on our trips and we barely use them. So at this point, like, I just don't even bother packing them.
Yeah, that's been the thing, like when we shoot with our Fujis, it comes out beautiful, it's art, and I want my movies to look that way. But when you're packing and there are 2 kids with you and you have to think about a million things, it is exactly what falls out. Like, you less and less have the chance to deal with that mirrorless camera, changing lens, zooming in, composing shots. And yes, I want our movies to look that way, artistic, but that would require our kids growing up and perhaps them shooting, so that we can produce everything on a mirrorless and make the really, really high quality media production. But at this point, for being on the go, and the phones get up there, and so we're gonna utilize that and see what we get.
Hopefully by the time our kids can shoot with cameras, the phones have gotten even better. So we'll see what the camera quality is like at that point.